What if the most iconic monument on Earth wasn't built by the people we've always been told? What if the truth about the Great Pyramid was so explosive, so world-shifting, that it's been buried on purpose? For nearly 5,000 years, the world has believed a neat, simple tale. Pharaoh Khufu built the Great Pyramid of Giza as his tomb. Thousands of laborers supposedly carved and hauled massive stones using nothing but ropes, wooden sleds, and copper tools, finishing the colossal project in just 2 decades. But what if that story isn't just incomplete? What if it's completely wrong? The deeper you dig, the more cracks you find in the official narrative. From missing records and unexplained construction methods to sealed chambers that no one is allowed to enter, there's growing evidence that the truth about the pyramids has been hidden, maybe even on purpose. And at the center of this mystery stands one man, Dr. Zahi Hawass, Egypt's most powerful and controversial archaeologist. For decades, he's been the ultimate gatekeeper of Egypt's ancient secrets. Every dig, every discovery, every official story goes through him. And oddly enough, he doesn't seem to welcome new ideas. Why is he so quick to shut down independent research? Why block investigations right when they get interesting? Is he protecting history or protecting a lie? Tonight, we're not just questioning what you've been taught. We're peeling back layers of secrecy, challenging the story you've always heard, and asking the one question that could change everything. Who really built the pyramids and what were they hiding? Cracks in the official story. When people picture ancient Egypt, they see towering pyramids rising from the desert, golden masks, and royal tombs filled with treasure. And right in the middle of all that is the Great Pyramid, the oldest, tallest, and most mysterious monument on Earth. The mainstream story tells us it was built around 2550 BC by Pharaoh Khufu, a royal tomb, a symbol of power, nothing unusual. But here's the problem. Almost none of that is based on solid evidence. There are no clear inscriptions, no construction records, and no documents from Khufu's time confirming he built the pyramid. That's strange for a civilization that recorded everything from farm work and taxes to rituals and royal births. Yes, there are some painted marks deep inside a hidden chamber, but they were found thousands of years later under very questionable circumstances. And let's be honest, writing someone's name in a hidden space doesn't prove they built the entire structure. Even stranger, the pyramid contains no treasures, no burial remains, and no elaborate decorations like every other known royal tomb from that era. If Khufu was really buried there, why didn't they leave behind the usual royal artifacts? Could it be that the pyramid wasn't a tomb at all? Could its purpose have been entirely different and far more advanced? One of the most mind-blowing facts about the Great Pyramid is its astonishing precision. Modern engineers still struggle to explain how such perfect measurements could be achieved over 4,000 years ago, with tools made of copper. The pyramid is aligned to true north with a margin of error so small it's almost impossible to replicate today without GPS. The granite blocks inside some weighing up to 80 tons are cut and placed with such accuracy you can't fit a piece of paper between them. Christopher Dunn, a mechanical engineer, studied these stones closely and found something shocking. Evidence of machining marks and perfectly round drill holes. Cuts that look like they were made using high-powered tools, not handmade chisels. And here's the kicker. Modern experiments trying to replicate these cuts using copper tools have completely failed. The tools wear out quickly, progress is painfully slow, and the result doesn't come close to the precision seen inside the pyramid. So the question is, how did they do it? How could ancient builders achieve such flawless construction using tools that shouldn't have been capable of the job? This isn't just about some impressive architecture. It suggests something far more dangerous to the official story, the possibility of ancient advanced technology. Knowledge that somehow existed long before it was supposed to. And if that's true, who had access to it? Lighting the darkness. There's another strange clue inside the pyramid that most people overlook: the complete absence of soot or smoke. The passageways inside are narrow and dark. If workers use torches or oil lamps to see, the walls and ceilings should be covered in black residue, but they're not. They're clean even in deep, hidden areas that sunlight could never reach. How did they light these spaces? Could they have used a different kind of technology, something that didn't involve fire? Or could the chambers have been built using methods we still don't understand? where lighting wasn't needed at all. Once again, we're faced with evidence that doesn't match the tools or knowledge ancient Egyptians were believed to have. And this isn't just one weird thing, it's part of a pattern of impossibly advanced craftsmanship, mysterious omissions, and deliberate secrecy. A pattern that points to a bigger story, still buried beneath the sand. And nowhere is that secrecy more obvious than in the case of the sealed doors inside the pyramid. In the early 1990s, a German engineer named Rudolf Gantenbrink sent a small robot into the Queen's chamber inside the Great Pyramid. What it found shocked the world: a mysterious tunnel that ended in a limestone slab with two small copper handles embedded in it. It became known as Gantenbrink's door, and it didn't match anything else inside the pyramid. This door wasn't just unusual, it looked like it was deliberately hiding something. Just when it seemed the world was on the verge of a major discovery, Egyptian authorities stepped in and shut everything down. Years later, in 2002, another team, this time backed by National Geographic, drilled a tiny hole through that first door, and behind it, another sealed stone slab, 2 doors, back to back, still unexplored to this day. Why hasn't anyone been allowed to go further? This question haunts researchers even now. What's so important behind those doors that Egyptian authorities have refused access for decades? And then came 2017, when scientists used muon scanning, a type of cosmic ray technology, to peek inside the pyramid without damaging it. What they discovered was an enormous hidden void, larger than the Grand Gallery itself. A secret space, completely sealed, no entrance, no explanation. Once again, instead of opening it, authorities refused further investigation, claiming safety concerns. But what are they really afraid of? What could be inside that hidden chamber that's so threatening to the official story? Are they hiding the truth? When you connect the dot-sealed doors, hidden rooms, blocked research, it starts to feel less like caution and more like a cover-up. Why is Dr. Zahi Hawass, the man in charge of almost every major archaeological decision in Egypt, so fiercely protective of the traditional timeline? Why silent scientists who suggest something different? Hawass has held enormous power over Egyptian archaeology for decades. Supporters say he's preserving Egypt's history. Critics say he's controlling the narrative and keeping inconvenient truths buried. Is he just protecting Egypt's reputation? Or is he hiding evidence that could rewrite history? Many believe the answers lie in alternative theory zones that mainstream archaeology refuses to explore. But the evidence supporting those theories, it's growing harder to ignore. And now it's time to explore those ideas for ourselves. Some researchers believe the pyramids are far older than mainstream historians claim. And if that's true, it means Egypt's greatest monument might not have been built by the ancient Egyptians at all, but by a forgotten civilization that came long before them. One of the most compelling clues? The Orion correlation theory was introduced by researcher Robert Bauval. He noticed that the 3 pyramids at Giza line up perfectly with the 3 stars in Orion's belt knot as they appear today, but as they would have looked over 10,000 years ago. That's not a coincidence. In ancient Egyptian mythology, Orion was associated with Osiris, the god of the afterlife. The stars weren't just decorations, they were deeply symbolic, and possibly encoded into the very architecture of Giza. But here's the problem. Historians insist that the pyramids were built around 2550 BC. If Bauval is right, that would push their construction back to 10,500 BCA time, when no advanced civilization is supposed to have existed. So if Egypt didn't build them, who did? Traces of a lost civilization. Researcher Graham Hancock believes Earth was once home to a highly advanced society that vanished long before written history began, possibly wiped out by a global catastrophe. He points to sites like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, massive stone structures built over 12,000 years ago, as proof that our timeline is wrong. These ancient builders, he argues, may have passed down fragments of their knowledge to later civilizations, like the Egyptians. Even within Egypt, structures like the Osirion at Abydos and the Serapeum at Saqqara feature massive granite blocks cut with precision that even modern tools struggle to replicate. Were the Egyptians inheriting techniques from an earlier age? Geologist Robert Schoch and researcher John Anthony West offer more proof. They studied the Great Sphinx and found evidence of heavy water erosion, which could only have occurred during a period of intense rainfall, something the Sahara hasn't seen in over 12,000 years. Their conclusion? The Sphinx wasn't built in 2500 BC. It was restored then, but the original structure could date back to the end of the last ice age. So again, the question returns: who were these ancient builders, and why did they leave behind clues we're only now beginning to understand? The truth still buried. After everything we've uncovered, the missing evidence, the mysterious chambers, the unexplained technology, and the erased history, it's hard to keep believing the story we've always been told. The truth is, the Great Pyramid may not be just a tomb. It may not even be Egyptian. It could be a Massaja legacile left behind by a civilization we've completely forgotten. But why hasn't the world embraced this idea? Why is it still dismissed? Because admitting it would mean rewriting history, entire careers, textbooks, Museum 7 national pride year built on the traditional timeline. Changing it would shake the foundation of what we think we know about human civilization. That's why the doors remain sealed. That's why discoveries go unexplored. And that's why those in power still cling to a version of history that's growing more fragile by the day. But one day, someone might open that second door behind Gantenbrink's discovery, or unlock the chamber found in 2017. And when that happens, we might finally learn the truth. Until then, the secrets of the Great Pyramid will stay buried, waiting for the right question, the right explorer, or maybe for you. If you're fascinated by lost civilizations and ancient mysteries, don't forget to subscribe and check out our other videos. We're just getting started. And let us know in the comments, who do you think built the pyramids, and why is the truth still hidden?